Breaking news. What Putin has in store for Russia over the next half-decade. Last month, in anticipation of an election he will undoubtedly win, Vladimir Putin laid out the budget priorities for the years 2019 to 2030. This is a whole year longer than Joseph Stalin's 5-year plans, whose record tenure as leader of the Kremlin he is about to surpass. The war in Ukraine is quickly becoming a major organizing principle of the economy and Putin's leadership. Nonetheless, in his leap year day address to the Federal Assembly, Putin focused more on social projects than on these topics. Putin has stated his desire for Russia's life expectancy to reach 78 by 2030. If he is successful in completing his term, which experts predict could witness increased repressions, a faltering economy, and aggression towards other nations, including Ukraine, his plans to address the demographic crisis are in the works. Financial sector. Bloomberg estimates that between now and 2030, Putin's spending plans could reach 15 trillion rubles, $164 billion, due to the relatively low value of the ruble relative to the dollar, or around 90 rubles to the dollar. This includes 400 billion rubles, $4.4 billion, for educational institutions and kindergartens and 1 trillion rubles, $10.9 billion, for healthcare facilities. With a population of about 140 million, Putin's expenditure estimates might be more wishful thinking than reality. Defense will account for 1/3 of Russia's government spending in 2024, according to Russian opposition leader Alexei Minialo. This is the first year since the Soviet Union when the combined budget of the military and police is higher than the social budget, Minialo said. Minialo told Newsweek that he has noticed that the Russian people are sick of the war, that very few hold a firm stance in favor of the conflict, and that they would prefer that the government focus on domestic issues. Truthfully, Putin isn't paying more attention to domestic problems, but he wants it to seem that way. In January, the vast majority of Russians, 83%, wanted Putin and the government to prioritize domestic matters, according to Chronicles, an independent polling group that Minialo co-founded with other sociologists. He claimed that Putin was increasing the number of individuals enlisted in the military and sending them to fight on the front lines. This is having a devastating effect on the home economy. Russia, the West, and Ukraine, NATO. Last month, Putin delivered an address, and on Wednesday, he gave an interview to the state news agency RIA Novosti in which he criticized the West. The latter included his claims that Russia was prepared to deploy nuclear weapons and his criticism of the U.S. election, which might bring Donald Trump back to the White House along with suspicions about his ties to the Kremlin. History professor Ken Osgood of Colorado School of Mines remarked, "The biggest and most crucial wild card is what happens in the 2024 U.S. election." Osgood was referring to Trump and the MAGA wing of the GOP's signals to swiftly end the war in Ukraine. Putin will win if the United States stops supporting Ukraine and stops pressuring them to negotiate. He told Newsweek that Putin will legitimately be considered victorious even if he simply maintains control of the region that Russia already controls. Such a path will have far-reaching effects. Is Putin planning an invasion of Poland or a conflict with NATO as a result of this? There's little chance of it happening. A direct attack that would provoke a tremendous reaction would be reckless, regardless of whether the United States withdraws from NATO. The alliance remains strong and equipped with nuclear weapons.